Your father and mother still have the farm in Aneroid. Your father is Dennis. In '04, the Sharks got to the Final Four against Calgary, conference final. Dennis had a battle on his hands at the time. Before we see a couple of clips here, tell us about the battle.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and you know, he's doing well now, but he's had to have surgery and radiation treatment and some hormone shots, but he's doing well now, and he's a tough old farmer.
Yeah, and the news department in Regina at that time did a wonderful story that featured both you and your father, Dennis, and let's just go back a few years and listen to what Patrick had to say. His father never missed a second of any of his games.
It's been tough knowing that he's been going through it, but I think the toughest part is on my mom. She's having to do most of the farm work while my dad's in Regina, about 3 hours away. So I feel for her.
Yeah, it's surprising how he's doing so well and thinking about me in the back of his mind. But we all pulled together as a family.
Now, Patrick, how hard is it with you living down here to see your parents? Do you get a chance to go up there every once in a while, or do they, vice versa, they come down here?
No, I get up there at least once a summer and visit them. And actually, during the lockout, I had a taste of what farming was again. I went up and helped my dad combine and take the weed off. And after a week, I was tired. I had my tail between my legs and came back home. But no, at least once a summer, I get up there and then try and get them down. They're coming down for the holidays, which is great.
Patrick, got a question for you from Kim in Leduc, just outside of Edmonton. So much is made about the Sharks having two top goalies. Does it create tension on the team? Do you think one of them will be moved before the deadline? Oh, that's a great question for you.
Oh boy.
Play general manager.
Yeah, luckily for me, I'm not the general manager. I don't have to make that decision, but I don't think there's any animosity between the two of them. You know, it's pretty much set in stone, one game, then the next goalie the next game, and you know, they're battling hard. They've won us a ton of games this year, so we feel confident with either goalie in the net. And as far as whether one of them is going to be traded, luckily I'm not in that position.
Let's go back to '04 again, and we talked about the playoff run the Sharks got to the conference final against the Flames, as we said. You had a hat trick, I think, in the second series against Colorado in Game 2. Many people referred to the '04 run as sort of your coming out party, the time that you proved you could be a real playoff performer. Is that the way you viewed it?
Yeah, it was definitely nice having the success that we had as a team and individually, and it was a fun run. Definitely, we wanted to go a lot further, but yeah, we had great players on that team too. I got to play along with Vinny Damphousse and Alex Korluk, and you know, things just started clicking for us in the playoffs.
And that hat trick, obviously, they caught on to the tradition down here pretty quickly of throwing hats on the ice, and they filled your truck with all the hats. What'd you do with them?
Out there in garbage bags. I think they might have went to Salvation Army or something like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
With your great speed, and I hate to always bring it up because you have other qualities as well, but how did you learn as a kid, and this is maybe important for the other young players out there that are playing, to learn not to get too far ahead of the play, because then it helps nothing?
Well, in junior, I had the GM in junior was Russ Farwell, and I always came to him asking him what different things I could work on, because he'd been a general manager in NHL, and he actually gave me the advice that I should jump into holes as fast as I can to put pressure on other players to get me the puck.
Yeah.
So by doing that, you know, try and make other guys better, other guys get me the puck. But sometimes you do need to, you know, buy your time and come late and use the speed in a different way, not always be ahead. And that way you can catch some defenders off guard coming late from behind with speed.
One more question about Aneroid. You've been quoted as saying one of the best things about growing up there was you could skate whenever you wanted to. There's a rink there, right?
Yeah.
It's the typical prairie town where there's the grain elevator in the rink.
Yeah, you drive around. And
was the rink never locked? Did you go whenever you wanted?
Pretty much. If you wanted it to be open, you just go across the street, and the caretaker would have the key, and you grab it and you go over and open it up and have at her.
See, I was in Birtle. No, that's great. I was in Birtle, Manitoba last week to do a story that's going to air on Hockey Day in Canada on January 13th. It's on a great volunteer out there named Nelson Eubank, and you'll learn about him on Hockey Day. But I was really struck by the fact that the rink is the center of the town in the winter months. The kids, and they might have been 8 to 10 or whatever, we're all at school and it's lunchtime or whatever, they all come over to the rink and they skate for an hour. And they could all dance on their skates. They were great skaters, which leads me to this point. Do you think because of availability of access in rural areas that eventually the better hockey players in this country will come from the rural areas?
Well, I was pretty fortunate that my dad took the initiative to get me into the bigger centers, into Swift Current, into rep hockey, so that people could see me play, and I progressed from there. So, you know, there is a lot of talented kids in rural hockey, but it's just maybe that part of taking it one step further and following their dreams. And I was lucky enough to have parents that did that for me.
We are all but out of time. We've referred to your wife Tina a couple of times tonight, and I'm going to take some license here and get Tim to put in one picture of your wedding, or maybe a couple if we've got time for that. And there's Tina.
Yep.
Yep. Well, you can say something.
Obviously, she's beautiful, and
Don and I took these ones.
You know, she gave us this beautiful little package, this little boy, and she's basically the glue.
Yes, she is. She's the hero now, with the baby at home for sure. Patrick Marleau, one of the NHL's blue chip players, been our guest on After Hours. He's talked more in this half hour than he probably has in the last month, and that's been great for us. We're going to take a few moments now to review some key moments from tonight's broadcast on Hockey Night in Canada and what we call the last shift.